Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are, and thank you for joining us for our webinar, Painless DevSecOps, Building Security into Your DevOps Pipeline. My name is Sarah Ryan, and I am delighted to be your moderator for this webinar. Our presenter is Adam Jones. Adam is a Senior Solutions Engineer at Tasktop. He combines more than 15 years technical experience with his passion for optimizing the software value stream, working closely with our prospective customers to gain a deep understanding of their environments and help them identify ways to maximize the value of their integrations. While he's been at Tasktop, Adam has helped over 20 organizations, including 7 of the Fortune 100, to successfully undertake their large-scale Agile and DevOps transformations, enabling them to boost productivity and collaboration and gain end-to-end visibility and traceability, and ultimately transform the way they build and deliver software. So, without further ado, I will hand you over to Adam.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm excited to show everyone on the call today how you can take vulnerabilities that are found in scanning tools like WhiteHat, and we can turn those into defects very quickly and then inject them into your value stream so your testers and developers become aware of them. Obviously, you want to find security vulnerabilities as quickly as possible, and you want to make it easy for your testers and your developers to be aware of them. You don't want to have them dig through email and do double entry. And with the Tasktop Integration Hub, we can take those vulnerabilities and put them in HP for your testers and put them in Jira if that's your tool of choice for your developers. It could be any other tool, any other major tool out there that is typically used in the ALM lifecycle, be it Rally, TFS as well. So Tasktop can get those vulnerabilities and create actionable work items for you so they can be resolved quickly. Our goal is to do those things we just mentioned, but also to really cut out steps in your workflow. Again, no email. We also want to make everything easy. We want to make this easy to set up as well. So you're going to see how we can easily set this up and configure this. Everything you're going to see today was accomplished without scripting and merely through configuring the Tasktop tool. One other use case we'll look at, I forgot to mention, is we're going to look at dumping all the vulnerabilities and information about the vulnerabilities into a SQL data warehouse as well, so you have that data at your fingertips to use your BI tool of choice to run analytics on the vulnerabilities and defects. Things like cycle time and volume can now be readily accessible in your reporting tool of choice. So with that, let's look at the next slide here. So Tasktop is really about integrating your whole value stream. Today we're just going to look at a particular use case with starting with vulnerabilities, but we can really connect all tools in your value stream, all the way from requirements to release tools to help desk tools. So again, you're eliminating steps in your workflow, which is allowing you to release better software faster. And just to reiterate, the use case that we're going to see today, we're going to take DAST vulnerabilities, dynamic vulnerabilities from WhiteHat, and insert those into HP, and subsequently into Jira, and also into SQL for analytics. So with that, let's actually see the tool in action. So this is the Tasktop Integration Hub here. This is where you will configure everything. I've got WhiteHat open as well here. This is the web UI for WhiteHat. And we have HP open here. You can see HP right now is empty. And we also have Jira open as well. So we're going to start with building part of the integration in Tasktop. And these first couple minutes is to show you how easy it is to set up. If you're worried about DevOps security, you're probably smart enough to write your own integration, but who really wants to take the time to do that? It's not fun, and what's even more not fun is having to maintain that integration. So Tasktop makes it very easy to get that integration running as quickly as possible. So let's look at that. we're going to go ahead and create an integration. So the first part, our integrations consist of two things, and it consists of two collections. So we've already got our HP collection built for our defects, and what that means is we've connected HP's schema to a generic defect schema that lives in Tasktop. What we're going to do right now is create a collection in WhiteHat that takes the WhiteHat vulnerability schema and maps it to our generic defect model schema. So let's go ahead and do that. Once we're done with this, we're going to click Run, and you're going to see about 200 vulnerabilities flow from WhiteHat into HP. So we'll call this our WhiteHat dast vulns for the demo. And we're going to make sure we connect to WhiteHat here. We've already pre-established that WhiteHat connection to the REST API. We'll see that in a bit. It's very easy to do. And then we're going to select our project. Actually, we're going to select our dast artifact type. And we're going to select our, so we have these we call them projects available in Tasktop here. In WhiteHat, they are just labels, and they refer to sets of different vulnerabilities. So we've got that done now, and now we're going to connect to our defect model schema that we've defined, and we're going to map some fields. So here we're going to map really quickly the status field. Let's see here, we got an error. Let's see if we can. It's going to connect. I think it's still going to connect here. Yeah, this is, so there was just a communication HTTP error that was resolved. So right now we're going to map the status values for WhiteHat, which are on the left, to our model values for status, which are on the right. So we're going to say open is equivalent of, let's see here, we'll go, we know closed is done, let's start there, and we'll say accepted is in progress, and open is new, and we're going to go ahead and save that. So now we have this collection built to our WhiteHat vulnerabilities. Now we're going to pair that, marry it to HP, and then we'll have our integration running. So let's create this new integration. This will be a synchronization integration, and we'll say this is WhiteHat to HP, vuln to, let's say vuln to defect. And we select from WhiteHat on the left here and HP, and let's select our collection, which is right here. And now we're going to connect to our HP defect collection. We're going to save that, and we're going to make sure that the flow is in the way we want here, which is one way. So that's done. And we can quickly look at what we call the field flow here. This gives you a very detailed view of what's going to flow from what. So on the left-hand side, we've got our WhiteHat information. On the right-hand side, we've got HP. And you can see we've got all the fields laid out here that are going to be flowing into HP. So we've got summary, description, etc. I'm just going to make sure this is one way. Okay, so we've set up the integration. Now we're going to click Run. Before we do that, let's look at activity. So you can see we've got nothing going on. This will all get populated as soon as we click Run. So let's go into our integrations. You can see now we're connected to WhiteHat to HP, and let's go ahead and click Run. So now we're polling WhiteHat, we're sucking that vuln information out, and we're pushing it over to HP. And you can see it's picked up 130 vulns so far, and it's processing them. You can see now our past activity went from 0 to 10. And what you're seeing now typically only happens in the beginning of a integration. An ongoing integration, you're not going to have this bulk type of process. This this process where we're dealing with hundreds happens in the beginning, but then we get to equilibrium, and then you're only going to see ones and twosies going across as new vulnerabilities are found. So if we go into HP now, we can see that we're going to have a lot of vulns. So all these vulns came from WhiteHat, and now our testers are aware of them. The status actually came over to, you can see the status varies. Best practice might be to have a different field here called WhiteHat status, so you don't overwrite the native HP status. That's something easily implementable. So not only do we have this vuln information populating HP, we also have it populating into Jira. So the developers can be aware of, hey, we've got some vulns that need some looking, need some attending to. And there's a myriad of ways to set up filtering. So maybe you don't want all the vulns to go into Jira. Maybe you only want the high severity ones to go in there. That's possible with Tasktop. You can set up artifact filtering. What you're seeing here is a very baseline configuration for synchronization. Okay, we're going to look quickly now at our data streaming application, where you can take the vulns out of WhiteHat and dump them into SQL Server. So that's going to need another integration, and it's called Enterprise Data Stream. So we've already defined our collection to WhiteHat, so we can actually reuse that. And this is the benefit of a model-based approach to integration and synchronization and data streaming, is we map the WhiteHat to the Tasktop model. So we're not doing these point-to-point integrations. For about 6 years, Tasktop did do point-to-point integrations. I think most of our competitors, not all of them, still do point-to-point, but we wanted to move away from that because it's not as scalable. And here you'll see that we are able to reuse chunks of integrations that we've already built for building new integrations. So we've selected this WhiteHat collection that we built on the fly during this demo, and we're going to reuse it here and dump it into SQL. And we've got a SQL table for defects defined already in there, and we'll say this is our data streaming example for the demo, and we'll save that and make sure we're going the right direction there. We're done there, and now we can run that. And if we look at our landscape view here, we can see what actually is going on. We've got vulns going from WhiteHat to HP. We've got vulns going from WhiteHat to SQL, and those vulns from HP actually end up in Jira. So you have a pretty good view, hopefully, of the capabilities of just plugging new tools into your ALM value stream. And then if we look at MySQL here, you can see we've got all these vulns getting dumped into the database for you then to do whatever analytics you'd like. And with Tasktop, you could tie this vuln information directly to defect information and see what the correlation is between vulns and defects, and you can even tie that into requirement information, so you really have the ability to have an end-to-end traceability view of what's going on in your value stream. So that's what things look like from the user standpoint. That's all the high-level functionality. There's a couple other things that are involved in setting up integration that we'll take a quick look at. When you want to connect to a tool, you create a new repository connection, and that's simply a matter of specifying a URL and a username and password. At that point, we can talk to the REST API of the tool. It's the same here for Jira, HP, and WhiteHat. Again, you just specify a URL and then a user account, and we can then read and write what we need to through the REST API. So setting up a repository connection is a couple-minute process. The tool itself, the Tasktop tool, the server that you're looking at, it's about a 300 megabyte file that we give you to install on a VM. It's all Java-based, so it installs on Windows or Linux. We have a sizing diagram that tells you how much hardware you need, and that's typically based on the number of artifacts you expect to be dealing with, whether it's 10,000 or a million. So we can give guidance on how big of a server you need when you're going to deploy. And then that pretty much wraps up the technical portion of the demo. We would be happy to answer for you guys to think about some questions to ask. I'm going to go through a couple more slides and then we can get into the Q&A. So again, what you've seen here is the focus on security here, taking vulnerabilities, injecting them into your value stream so developers and testers can resolve them. We have a lot more abilities insofar as dealing with requirements, with builds, with more testing. You can integrate with Selenium scripts. In the case of Selenium, you don't really have a repository to integrate with, but we have a capability where you can push failed Selenium runs into Tasktop and create defects. So there's a lot of rich integration capabilities that Tasktop Hub enables, and we really want to help you think about integrating that entire value stream to really eliminate a lot of waste that you're doing right now with double entry, and allow for more traceability across your whole team, whether it's an ops or your business analyst. We really have something to enable each of your team members to work a little faster. So this is a partial list of the tools that we connect with. I think we have what we call, we got about 50 or so robust two-way connectors that are really plug and play, ready to go, that we can support today. Everything from older tools like IBM Doors all the way up to really cutting edge tools, new total SaaS tools like ServiceNow that we can snap into your value stream. And then we have the ability to integrate with 350 DevOps types of tools, Puppets, Jenkins, Ansible, those types of tools as well. And we've been doing this for a while. We now are helping over 40 of the Fortune 100, so we have a lot of large customers, and that's given us the ability to see a myriad of use cases. And we take that information and we distill it down into some best practices so we can help you guys deploy and think about what you need to be integrating, what are priorities when you sit down and actually think about, okay, what do I want to integrate? And we find that the biggest process, the most time-consuming aspect, is whiteboarding and figuring out what you want to do. We've designed the Tasktop Integration Hub to be rather easy to use, and it's kind of anticlimactic once you get through that whiteboarding session of what's really important for you to integrate. So we can open up now for a Q&A. Sarah is collecting questions, and I'd be happy to answer those.
Great. Thank you, Adam. Just as a reminder, if you have any questions, there is still time to enter them. Just type them into the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel, and I will get them ready. We did have one come in for you. It says, I have a specific team that handles my security vulnerabilities. Is it possible to route these to that specific team to get them on their backlog?
It is, yes. You can route to a certain project that team might be responsible for in, say, HP, or you can, it depends on what type of tool you're connecting with. Maybe you have an assignment group type of field, and you can, Tasktop has the ability to dynamically assign issues to teams or individuals, or to route those issues into certain projects.
Great, thank you. Another one came in that said the integration that you set up was one direction. Is it possible to do bidirectional synchronization between other tools? It
is, yeah, especially in the case of like HP to Jira, you would you would want bidirectional synchronization there where sometimes developers might find a defect. So the developer could create a defect in Jira and it could push into HP or in addition to the common use case of a tester finding a defect in HP and pushing that into Jira. So we do have the ability to support bidirectional artifact creation. So you can create in each tool and it will recreate in the other tool, or we also have the ability for bidirectional field synchronization.
Great. Any other questions? Type them in now. We still have a couple of minutes. While we're waiting for additional questions, if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, Adam. I wanted to make sure that everybody knows about Tasktop Connect. It is a one-day conference in Columbus, Ohio on October 4th, and we're going to have a keynote from Tasktop advisor Gene Kim, the author of the Phoenix Project and the DevOps Handbook, as well as presentations from Tasktop customers like Nationwide, TIAA, Comcast, and McKesson. And they're going to share their successes and the challenges that they've faced during their Agile and DevOps transformations and provide actionable advice to help you achieve maximum collaboration, visibility, and traceability across your software development and delivery value stream. So if you are interested, go to connect.tasktop.com, and if you register before August 16th, you can save $100 on your registration. So I would recommend everybody go and check that out. This is just a selection of the speakers that we'll have at the conference, and of course, there will be evening events, networking, all that. It should be a fun and educational time for everyone. So I didn't see any other questions come in during my little spiel there. So if you have any other, you can obviously go to our website, find out more information about us on tasktop.com. We have a little button up there to request a demo or contact us if you have any other questions. As a reminder, I will be sending out an email tomorrow with a link to the recording and the slides for this presentation. And you can see anything that you missed there. So that concludes our webinar for today. Thank you everyone for attending, and thank you, Adam.
Yes, thanks, Sarah.
Okay, have a great day.
Bye-bye.